And I want to share a little bit about Global Genes and who we are. Our mission here at Global Genes is to eliminate the challenges of rare disease globally. We accomplish this by offering programs and tools that are designed to educate, empower, and to support patients, advocates, foundations, and the rare disease-focused organizations. And the webinar series is one of these educational initiatives, and we're really looking forward to bringing this to you today. Next slide. Keeping notes. You're welcome to send questions to be answered by today's panelists through our Q&A system. We'll be holding all the questions until the end of the presentations. But in the meantime, if you are having any difficulties, please email Katie Maestro at kdm@globalgenes.org. And we'll also be recording today's presentation, and we'll have it available online for viewing within a few days, along with a copy of today's slides. Next slide. Started for the fun stuff. Many of us work tirelessly to get our family's rare story out there, in the print media, on television, in our local community. And why do we do this? Because we know that awareness is one of the key first steps in creating hope. That if nothing changes, then the disease could take the life of someone we love or continue to cause chronic and painful conditions to exist. We know so few people that share our condition that we may have to be the one who has to take those first steps. Knows about your disease, your story, then no one knows you need help. And awareness is the first step towards funding, towards research, towards treatment, towards hope. Next slide. These days, such an exciting time for our rare disease community. It is one day designated each year that we have a chance to work together, regardless of our diagnosis or disease family, and promote the importance and intense need of treatments, legislation, research, and understanding for rare diseases to the general public, industry, and media. This is that we build upon each of our individual stories for the greater benefit of the rare disease community. Because it's not about me, the patient, it is about us, the rare community. Because seen time and time again that advances in one specific disease may have great benefits in other similar rare diseases. A little bit about World Rare Disease Day. We launched this initiative in 2008, and it has grown tremendously each year. Last year, thousands of events, large and small, were held in over 84 countries. Just an incredible thought. 29 was chosen for Rare Disease Day this year because it is the rarest day on the calendar. On leap years like this year coming, we will be celebrating on February 28th. 2016 is going to be an extra exciting year because it is actually a leap year, which means World Rare Disease Day will truly be on the rarest day of the year, February 29, 2016. We promote hope with our Blue Denim Jeans Ribbon campaign. Jeans, Genes, and Hope. Because there are so many unique types of denim jeans and there are so many unique genetic and rare disorders, it has become a unifying symbol of hope for our community. It's been adopted by thousands of people since the program began in 2011. Last year, we sent out over 150,000 jeans ribbons from our office. And we know that many thousands more were handmade by people like you. Fun begins. It's time to start thinking of what type of event you want to put together. Is it going to be at a school or university? Perhaps your sports or craft club wants to do something special. Are you good at your office? Or maybe organize something at the store you work at. Maybe get together a group of people and take advantage of the growing popularity of Rare Disease Day and talk to your legislative representatives about policy changes you feel are important to your community. Things to think about when you're coming up for ideas for your event. Are you focused on a specific patient or rare disease, or use a rare story to help people understand the needs of the general rare disease community better? Personal stories, they are really the most powerful, and that's what stays in people's hearts, especially by those not affected personally by rare diseases. This event is a fundraiser. Where is the money going to go? If you're going to raise money for a patient's family, donations you receive will not be tax deductible to the donor. For them to receive the tax exemption, the organization you donate to must be a 501c3 nonprofit charity. sure of the organization status you wish to support, check them out on guidestar.org or Charity Navigator. So consider our logistics and publicity. If you're hosting an event at a specific location, you need to verify whether or not you'll be required to get a permit or written permission to hold the event there. For example, if you decide to do something at your local mall, you will need to talk to their corporate office to see what requirements they have for something like this. Do not be afraid to ask people for help. Most are really receptive to unique and special ideas that give them a chance to help others in their community. And you'll be pleasantly surprised at how much help you can get if you just ask for it. It's going to be very important if you're hosting a public event. Donna Jacqueline, our Global Genes Managing Blog Editor, later in this webinar to share some great tips and suggestions on how to get the word out about your event. Next. If you have any questions you would like us to answer or any of our panelists, please send them to me in the Q&A box, and we will be answering them at the end of this webinar. And maybe at the point you want to do something, but you're not exactly sure what you want to do yet. Getting schools involved in Rare Disease Day is such a fantastic way to give appropriate education of genetics and rare diseases. The grade level you're considering, it can be as simple as our Rare Disease Day elementary school program, which not only discusses the very basics of genetics, but it provides a great opportunity to teach about acceptance of disabilities and reaching out to children who may have physical or developmental differences. You can turn this into a fundraising opportunity, asking staff members to pay $5 to wear jeans on that day, or perhaps $20 for the week. And this is especially successful in a school that has a uniform dress code. To get the younger kids involved in Rare Disease Day is our Denim Designs art activity. Jeans website, we have an outline of a jeans ribbon on a coloring sheet that can be downloaded. Encourage your students to come up with creative ways to decorate the jeans, to make them look unique or rare while incorporating the denim blue color. You know, you even take it a step further to make it a contest and offer a prize for each of the grade levels. It makes a wonderful yearbook page showcasing your school's commitment to community. Next. For students, like high school to university, you put together a denim scavenger hunt on campus. Variety of denim jeans, ribbons, and patches, and hide them on campus. You can provide clues to the next location while at the same time sharing rare disease facts to educate the students. For example, one clue could read, did you know 1 out of 10 Americans is affected by rare diseases? Your next clue can be found at XYZ. Which is extremely popular, is joining our Wear That You Care campaign for Rare Disease Day. This is an easy-to-participate program asks people just to wear that they care about rare diseases. It is as simple as sharing what makes you rare to wear denim jeans and other items that help promote hope. Whatever event you want to put together, or however you want to you and your families and coworkers community involved, be sure to take pictures, lots of pictures. This is the best way to spread awareness. Next. Other activities you can consider, and we put a handful of them together just to give you some more ideas. I will turn on briefly, but if you have any questions or want to talk about how to develop these ideas further, please reach out to me. My contact information will be at the end of this presentation. Jeans in the same color t-shirt with jeans ribbon and taking a group photo to share on your social media is hugely popular. We've seen hundreds of those over the years. You also host a Care About Rare party and all the food, drinks, and decorations in blue. We'll give you the opportunity to share your rare story with a group of people, and it's great for business offices. And this because it can be extremely powerful, as our rare stories and personal experience really impact the hearts of those who hear them. It's a really fun project, especially for those of you who like Pinterest, where you can decorate a pair of jeans in a really unique way. Something you can do on your own, or you can ask your friends, family, and children to each decorate a pair of jeans. Now, Global Jeans loves photos. We're seeing our community action, and it's so inspiring to see so many people coming together to say, I care about rare. So as I said earlier, please be sure to take photos of what you end up doing and share them on our Facebook page so we can share it with the rest of our community. Next. Here's a few more ideas, such as it's in our genes. Baby Got Her Blue Jeans On, our Care About Rare Recipe Exchange, and so much more. Most states are also starting to organize statewide legislative events to help spread awareness to state representatives, including Utah, California, and Massachusetts. At the beginning of this webinar, the slides will be available for download on our website, so you can have all these ideas at your fingertips. A quick list of resources that will help you develop your Rare Disease Day event. The Institutes of Health has developed a great curriculum for middle school teachers, grades 6 through 8. And Me has a really nice playlist of 5 videos, cartoons, that help describe genetics and rare diseases, which works great for both kids and adults. Facts and statistics on rare diseases on our website at globalgenes.org. The RareDiseaseDay.us is also a fantastic resource to help plan your rare event. And finally, be sure to get your order for our blue jeans denim ribbons in early. You can do it on our website at any time. Next. A very active social media campaign again this year. If you were a Facebook friend with us during the past couple of years, you probably remember how active and fun the entire month surrounding Rare Disease Day was. So many pictures, so many stories, and we had thousands of people changing their profile pictures to our Rare Disease Day graphics. And we will be doing it again this year, even bigger, and we have more details on that coming in January 2015. So get your photo ideas ready and be sure to tag them with our hashtag #CareAboutRare, hashtag WRDD2015. You can use our @GlobalGenes if you post them on Twitter or Instagram. Next. I wanted to share a few of the creative profile pictures that were used last year by Rare community members like you. You're on the webinar right now, you might even see yourself. It's so fun seeing how many people were able to take our template and make it their own. You don't have to be a graphic artist to be able to create these. You know, there are free programs available like Canva.com, PicMonkey.com, and Pixlr.com, where you'll be able to add your photo and text to any of our templates to be able to use. Next. Saturday, April 18, 2015, supporters from all over the nation will run walk in our 3.1 miles to make a difference for rare disease. This first annual Denim Dash 5K run for rare disease is a virtual race, and so you have the flexibility to participate wherever, whenever is most convenient for you. And you can make it on April 18th, that's not a problem. You can run walk anytime between April 11th through the 19th, and you will still be included in the final result. That easy. Because we will definitely be announcing more details on this exciting virtual run very soon. Introduce our Executive Director, Andrea Epstein. She was going to share a little bit more about our World Rare Disease Day Grand Rounds program. Andrea?
Hello, and thank you. So this year, starting in 2015, we are initiating a program that will allow us to not only build awareness for rare disease in the general community, but also with physicians, primary care physicians, and pediatricians throughout the country as well. And we're doing that through a pilot strategy where we're working with major medical institutions throughout the country to co-sponsor and facilitate grand rounds. So what is a grand rounds? These are educational programs that take place at, as I said, at academic medical institutions. They're typically an hour to 2 hours long. Usually they provide continuing medical education credits for the physicians. These are events that are typically spearheaded by physicians who are involved in rare disease, who want to be able to catalyze education for the general practitioner. At this point, we have about 5 to 7 rounds in the works in children's hospitals throughout the country. We will share that information on our Rare Daily blog as those become finalized, so that those events that are open to the community and not just physicians will be available for you to consider attending. Remember that the primary audience is primarily general practitioners, and we will have more information as the specific locations become finalized. I can tell you that at this point we have several in the works in Southern California and a few more in the East Coast, in Virginia, in Cincinnati, and in Atlanta. But stay tuned for more information and for the opportunity to be able to participate and as an audience member for those that are open to the general community.
Thank you. This is such a great program because this is the next generation of physicians in our rare community, that they're really going to be the ones who are going to be working with advances and really understanding patients and the families that we are now. And now I'd like to introduce Keegan Johnson from Gonzaga. Keegan has a son diagnosed with a rare disorder, and his team at Gonzaga is working on this amazing platform to help rare disease foundations band together and raise money. Keegan?
Carrie. So as Carrie said, from this story really started out when my son Dante was diagnosed at 3 weeks of age with a rare genetic disorder. We're like a number of the people on the call, that was the moment that we sort of made a decision to do something about it and get involved. And really, since then, we've gone out for our rare disorder that we co-founded with my wife, and we started running a One Small Step walk. We've now sort of spread that out to 72 different cities, 7 different countries around the world, and raised millions. I think we crossed over $5 million, for our rare disease charity. And really, over the last year, I've been doing through my consulting companies and Gonzaga is really going out and working with different rare disease groups and other charities in terms of how to get aligned, how to start, raise money and take it to the next level. And really what we kept coming back to is one of the challenges is that everybody has to sort of go out there and recreate the wheel. So not just create the technology, but create all their campaigns. And really just kept coming back to there's got to be a better way that we can really take it to the next level by working together as a community. We keep talking about how big our rare disease community is. So that we came back to how do we actually make that happen in terms of the fundraising dollars that we need to achieve the mission that we're all working so hard together. So what we came back to for us is actually launching something which we are now calling Give Rare, which is basically a rare disease giving day. So if 1 out of 10, if we're 30 million Americans, how can we get all of those people together on a single day, which is going to be March 3rd this year coming up, Give to Rare. And that's really the nexus of the Give Rare campaign. So if we go to the next slide, is really how does it work? So it's pretty simple. We have a central website, giverare.org, and you can go there now and pre-register today. We'll talk a little bit about that. But that's a central site where we're going to drive everybody really from across the U.S. to donate to the rare disease groups. And then what you can do, step 2, is you go ahead and you can register your rare disease nonprofit. So if a 501(c)(3) in the U.S. or if that's dedicated to rare disease, or you're part of a larger charity that's got a specific program related to rare disease. You can go in very quickly, set up your page for your nonprofit. You can actually, if you're an individual, you can also go ahead and set up your individual fundraising pages. And then what happens is all of our charities are competing for matching prizes. So now that we've got everybody together, we have gone out and get a number of corporate sponsors to donate prizes. So these will be cash prizes that actually go to your registered nonprofit, registered 501(c)(3) charity. And that's the way that we can actually start really changing the space in terms of raising money collaboratively. So if we go ahead to the next slide, giving work. The results really are in. So Giving Days, if we look at it, they've been run, across the U.S. from Give Local America, North Texas Giving Day, Big Give in Utah, and groups that are raising tens of millions of dollars. And I believe when I sit back and look at it, that if we mobilize our rare disease community, that over the next 2 or 3 years, we can actually have Give Rare, the Giving Day for rare disease, to be the largest of all the Giving Days out there. And then we'll start looking at what can we do with, we're generating 10, 20, 30, $50 million for rare disease. And that's really how we look at changing the landscape. So if we move to the next slide. Good. So for your rare disease charity, the key is that you're actually raising money directly for your charity. But by working with everybody else, there are going to be additional benefits that come in. So the first one, So for a number of the different giving days, they've done studies, and one of the biggest things that the charities have seen is they're picking up 25 to 30% new donors. As well as when they look at the donors, about 25% of the donors on the given day are lapsed donors. So these are people who, kind of involved with your charity, maybe haven't given for a couple years, but all of a sudden you have this competition where you'll see, a list of all the different nonprofits. You might have Muscular Dystrophy, Tay-Sachs, Prader-Willi on that list, and Prader-Willi could be in third place, and if they raise another $5,000, they're going to move up to second place, and by getting to second place, they're going to get a cash prize from our sponsors back into the charity. That really drives that excitement, and that's where you start getting all of a sudden these new donors or these lapsed donors getting involved to help you raise money for your charity. In addition, what we actually also do is we'll have different things throughout the day where we have hourly prizes. So between 11 a.m. and 12 a.m. in the morning, whoever donates has a chance. We'll do a random draw. We call it a golden ticket. And we're going to randomly draw, and that charity may get another $500 just because they had a person who donated through that hour. So it really drives the excitement. All of a sudden, gets these new donors involved. So obviously, you can increase the fundraising. And what we've seen with our rare disease group is we always say, let's drive the fundraising, and then that's going to drive the awareness. If we can go out and start saying collectively, hey, look how much money we've raised as a community. This is how we're all together. Then that's all of a sudden where all the news stories start coming, saying, hey, the largest giving day was actually put together by the rare disease community. Matching funds, obviously, that's a huge benefit because that's going to bring new funds in. I'll stress this again in a little bit, but the key here is this is something that we can't do individually. We've been fairly successful in our group in raising money, but very difficult for us as a rare disease group to go to a big national brand and say, hey, donate $1 million to Prader-Willi syndrome. And say, well, what's your market? How many people do you have? And it's like, oh, well, you're rare. So it comes down to, unless you personally know someone, it's very difficult to have that conversation. But the key here is collectively do that. The more we participate, the more we get all the other rare disease to participate, really start putting numbers around that, that marketing line of 1 in 10 Americans. What that allows us to do is go approach those national sponsors and ask for that $1 million sponsorship. That's then going to flow directly back to all the participating rare disease nonprofits. So this is finally a way for us to collaborate on fundraising. The other thing, I've talked to a number of different nonprofits about getting involved, and some of the feedback that we got, especially from some of the larger groups and like a PPMD, is that they thought the timing worked really well because it's separate from their end of the year fundraising where they have a bunch of different campaigns, and it also works because it's that end of February, it's March 3rd is the date. It's separate from the big giving times like the April, May, and the September, October. So we've gone out and selected basically best of breed technology, and this is what we found is it's very difficult for each individual rare disease group to go out technology platform to configure it, to put it together. So this is a way that we could go out and do that once, and you basically can show up, create your page, and you're off to the races, even to the point where they send you emails saying, hey, send out this email to your members, this Thursday. You can obviously write your own email, but that campaign is really already created for you. And in some of the studies they've looked at for these giving days is the participating organizations spent less than 10 hours on this campaign. So it's really, setting up a page, sending out a couple of emails, very, very easy to move forward. Really benefit from the collaboration so that we can all work together. So on the next slide there. So frequently asked questions, when is the giving day? It is Tuesday, March 3rd. So you can go to giverare.org right now, and you can pre-register. On January 9th, we're going to open a full registration, and that's when you can go out and set up your page. So at that point, you can set up your page. We can start sending out a couple of emails. But the day where we're going to count towards that matching donations is actually going to be March 3rd. To make it easy is tax receipts are automatically going to be sent out on your behalf. And after those tax receipts are sent out, you can, once you've registered your nonprofit, you can pull down a report that has all of the donor information specifically for your rare disease nonprofit. So it's all PCI compliant from a security point of view, and your data is private because only your registered charity can go ahead and pull down that information. In terms of fees, so the great thing is there is no setup fee. So you don't have to come in, pay any fee. Every rare disease charity group, not-for-profit, is welcome. There's 6.9% action fee, and that's to cover the technology, obviously, any sort of the management, administration, as well as the credit card fees, which is a huge part of that. And the great thing about this is, you know, you don't have a lot of the other typical event fees, so you're not putting together a whole bunch of marketing materials, you're not paying for shirts and things like that. So that ends up driving the cost down significantly. And then the money, you're raising money for your charity. So it's not going into a general bucket where you have to worry about it. It's literally everybody goes out, raises money for their group, but we those numbers up collectively, and that's what allows us to drive the marketing message and increase those sponsorship dollars. Next slide. It comes back to the live and say, you know, help me help you. So we talk a lot about, you know, rare diseases and how big we are collectively. I talk about, you know, we impact more people than AIDS and cancer combined. And what we would like to do collectively is start funding, you know, more than AIDS and cancer combined. That's a huge step. It's going to take us a little while to grow. I think I read something online the other day where they talked about autism, saying in terms of autism, you know, now they're actually finding hundreds of different genetic subtypes of autism. Same thing if you look at cancer, they're actually finding more and more that cancers are, you know, rare at the genetic level, this specific thing. But to step back, if each of those groups, if autism went out and each individual genetic subtype of autism said they're going to go ahead and raise money and do this individually, they'd never be able to get to where they are today. So if we do the reverse and look at all the rare diseases and say, hey, you have an ability to bring everybody together, you're still raising money for your rare disease nonprofit, but we're going to start adding those numbers together. We're going to start driving marketing, going to those national sponsors and say, hey, here, donate individually to this one place. That's when we're going to start to see the message. So today, I'd encourage you to go ahead, you know, pre-register at giverare.org. This means you're going to be in our system. When we open the full registration, we're going to email you. You're going to get all that material. And you can start posting online saying, hey, I signed up under the Give Rare hashtag. Number 3 there, I think, is the important one, is we're all going to benefit by getting more rare disease groups involved. So if you have 2 or 3 other rare disease groups or people that you know, go ahead, give them a call and ask them to sign up. And that's it. I hope to see you as a part of the campaign.
And, you know, it's really exciting, and I can't wait to learn more about Give Rare. As someone who's participated at a community-level Give Rare program, we have seen such an amazing success, but having us all collectively work together as a rare community, I can't wait to see how much collectively we can raise on the Give Rare Day. So it's going to be really exciting. So thank you for sharing this with us. Katie, can you go ahead a couple slides? Perfect. The past 2 years, you know, I've had the opportunity to be part of a large group of rare disease advocates who have stormed the Capitol in D.C. to share our stories and initiatives with our senators and the congressmen from our local areas. It is such an incredible experience if you've not been there yet. You know, these events are hosted by RDLA, Rare Disease Legislative Advocates, and we have invited Andy Russell, RDLA's Assistant Director of Advocacy and Government Relations, to share details about this year's Rare Disease Day events in D.C. Andy?
Oh, thanks so much, Carrie, and all the Global Genes team for organizing this call today. I'm here to talk to you guys about Rare Disease Week on Capitol Hill 2015. You could move slide forward. So about RDLA, Rare Disease Legislative Advocates, we're designed to be a clearinghouse and advocacy center for rare disease legislation. We want to provoke action amongst the rare disease community, and all our resources and our And our tools for individuals and organizations are on our website, rareadvocates.org. And all events and resources are free and open to the entire rare disease community. We are a program of the Every Life Foundation for Rare Diseases. And on to the next slide. What RDLA does is we organize monthly meetings and webinars like this and calls to discuss legislation and going on politically in the rare disease community. If you want to get on one of these calls and you have something that we would like to hear about or you want the community to hear about, all agendas are open. And something that RDLA does is coordinate the Rare Disease Congressional Caucus, and we have in-district lobby days during summer recess. This is where advocates go meet in the home offices of their legislators. So about lobby days, this is our this will be our fourth lobby day. And we have 3, and as you can see, each one is getting more and more successful. And we're getting more people on the Hill and more legislators are learning about rare diseases, which is really our goal. So go on to the next slide. Rare Disease Week on Capitol Hill. Last year we had around 165, patient advocates and 20 to 30 industry representatives. We had over 60 patient organizations. And when all 3 parts of the community really come together, it really sends a powerful message to the people paying attention. So go on to the next slide. Okay, this week on Capitol Hill 2015 will take place February 23rd through the 27th. It's a week-long course of events designed for rare disease patients, their families, caregivers, and advocates, and really want to bring the whole community together. It's easy and it's free to attend. Go on to the next slide. So day by day through the events, very quickly, on Monday, we will have our 5th annual Rare Disease Documentary Screening and Cocktail Reception at the Carnegie Institute for Science. This year's documentary, we will be featuring the film Rare. And we'll have a great panel discussion. Last year we had Francis Collins, and that was the highlight of the night, was that panel discussion after the documentary. So make sure you stick around. If we go on to Tuesday's event, we have our big legislative conference. This is where we teach advocates and train advocates to deliver their message to their legislators. So we have issue and advocacy training, and we have information on the Congress, who they are, information about your representatives, information about the bills that could help the community, and we'll serve a full coffee, breakfast, and lunch. So if you go on to the next slide, is our action day. This is where we round up the whole community and take to the Hill. As Carrie mentioned quite eloquently earlier, that we are storming the Hill. We want to get the message across to legislators that they can't ignore us, that they will take action on our bills that help the community. It's a really long day. Usually advocates will have about 3 to 4 meetings, so there's a lot of walking involved. But we fuel you up with a great breakfast before, and we try to have some speakers that provide some inspiration. If you go to the next slide. On Thursday week, we have a Congressional Caucus briefing, and where we have the senators and representatives send their staff to us to be educated. So we really try to raise rare disease awareness by attracting the media and building networks and relationships with the staff in the Capitol. Go on to the next slide. So we have our first ever Rare Artist Reception in the Rayburn House Office Building, which will showcase the art of the rare disease community. This Rare Artist program has really grown over the last couple of years, so it's really exciting to see this event. Slide. And for the last event of Rare Disease Week will be Rare Disease Day at the NIH. This gives the rare disease community a chance to go into the NIH and see where a lot of the research being done on their diseases takes place. And that's Friday from 8 to 3. And it will be available webcast for those who can't join. So if you go to the next slide. Here's a little bit of travel and hotel information. We have a hotel block, Embassy Row in DC, that's discounted. So if you want to get on that block, you can head over to our website, rareadvocates.org. And a big thing is travel stipends for those who will have trouble paying for their cost of traveling out to DC. The Every Life Foundation is providing $600 travel stipends for 2 advocates in each of the 48 continental states outside of the DC metro area. And if there's any of you out there from Alaska or Hawaii, the travel stipends will be $1,000 because we really want the legislators and our advocates to be representative of the whole country. You can apply for those travel scholarships at the everylifefoundation.org site. Okay, next please. Okay, the thing is, a lot of the community can't make it out to DC, but we still want your voices to be heard. If you share your story with us, we'll make sure that story is hand-delivered to your representative in DC. It takes place on Wednesday and Thursday of Rare Disease Week. And we really want to try to get a lot of patient stories, so, the message is powerful. Strength in numbers. Okay, next slide. So questions about Rare Disease Week, I'm sure I can answer them for you. All the information of this webinar will be posted on the Global Genes site, and it's available at rareadvocates.org/RDW, stands for Rare Disease Week. Or go ahead and contact me directly at arussell@everylifefoundation.org. Very excited about Rare Disease Week, and we think it's going to be even bigger this year. If you have a chance to come out to DC and share your message and your story with legislators, we'd be happy to help you out.
Thank you. I really appreciate you sharing this with us, and I can't wait to make it out to DC again next February. Just a quick question for you, Andy. If someone was interested in one of those travel scholarships, is there a deadline to request one?
Yeah, the deadline to request the travel scholarships is at the end of the year.
Wonderful. Sandy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That everybody's head is probably swimming with so many event ideas that you want to put together. It's really important to remember why this day is so important. It's to get the word out about rare diseases to those who really don't know the realities of life living with a rare disease. Sharing information with your coworkers, your friends, your local congressperson, it is creating awareness, and really that is the key. I'd be amazed at how many times I've heard from an advocate that sharing their story led them to someone they had never met who reached out and wanted to help. So you could be a business person who wants to hold a fundraiser, or a reporter who wants to follow a family story. Be another rare family who didn't know they had an entire community to support them, but because you were out there sharing your story, they no longer feel alone. The real effect of awareness in this community is really so powerful. I'd like to introduce Alana Jacqueline, our Global Genes Managing Blog Editor, and she's going to share some tips and suggestions on how to get publicity for your event so you can increase your exposure to more people. Alana? Alana? Can you check on Alana for me? Most fun part, and she must have lost her connection. Well, I'll go ahead and go through her slides until she comes on. Next slide. Package your story for journalists and reporters. You really need to make it as easy as possible for them. You want to be able to provide them with all the information that you have the details about the disorder, background information, and if you're part of a foundation, you need to know the history of the organization and the mission. They need a date and an event. They need much more than that. They need the entire story, because it's the story they put together that's really going to have the most impact on who reads it or who views it. Next. For journalists and reporters, you have to share what makes World Rare Disease Day exciting. You know, it's about us, about our community, and a human element of that story that is really going to resonate with the audience. So then consider what kind of media you want to attract. You know, local media, do you want to go for a national audience? Is it community-based? Something when you bring together your media ideas, this is something you really want to consider. When you're pitching to reporters, it may seem a little overwhelming to pitch to reporters, but they really want to hear great stories. So when you're starting to talk to a reporter, maybe you have the names and details about your disease, the diagnosis, and if there is a treatment available, how rare disease affects on the local and global community, and how do you get involved in the rare community? Are you a patient? Are you the parent of a child with rare disorder? Are you a business owner who has an employee that you love that is affected by rare disease? You know, let them know this when you're starting to work with them. Talking about your event, is this going to be, you know, an awareness event, or is it just a fundraiser? You know, what is the goal of your event when you're talking to reporters? You really need to share that information in detail with them. Next. Reach out to your physician or other local physician who treats rare diseases. They may also want to be a big part of that story. I know when I did a local story here in my hometown with my daughter, it was our physician who shared information about my daughter's condition and the rare disease community. That added a different element to the story, which made it even stronger. So you're to reach out to your doctor or other specialist, and you as your expert in the story. And if you have other local families with rare disorders, share their story as well. Make it about, show them that this is a community. It's not just you, it's not just your story, that there's so many people in their local area that have rare disorders and why we need to pay attention to them. For example, the day in the life of a rare disease. If you work with 2 other families, showing 3 families and their lifestyle, their complicated lifestyle living with a rare disease can be a very impactful story. Release. Website, we have a fill-in-the-blank press release, which will be a great starting point for you to be able to reach out to share with your media, whether it be television, newspaper, or online. And our marketing team will also be providing some amazing resources after the new year starts, and that will also be able to help you putting together press releases. Be sure to spell check your release, your communication, your initial outreach. It's very important. It goes without saying. You'd be surprised, especially with disorders that are complicated and they are spelled. It is very important. Make sure you get that right so that they, especially in the print media, will be able to get that right as well. Contacting reporters. The easiest way to contact reporters is just by going to either their web page or look in the newspaper. Every website, every newspaper, every magazine, they will have a contact us area, and you just reach out to them that way. Next. Yeah. And on a lot of the online sites I have seen, they do have a place on their website specifically for press releases. Really, you need to think about, is it better to do a generic press release to the main area, or do you want to reach out to a specific reporter? For your local community has a reporter who focuses on more health, like human interest stories. You know, that might be a better option for you than sending it straight to the press releases. So you really need to gauge and understand the organization that you're reaching out to, determine the best way to contact their reporters. Next. And putting your press release. And in Twitter, so many reporters are on social media right now. They not only share their news, but they also share their personal lives. But it makes it very easy to find them and get to know them. So we have heard stories in the Global Genes team of advocates who have reached out to reporters via Twitter. Just please, I want to share this with you. Is this something you'd be interested in? And many times it has turned into a concrete story. So whether you go online or you do it through social media or the old-fashioned newspaper, there are there's a lot of different ways where you can find the reporters that would be great for your story. Next. I want to reiterate, you can call the reporters. Send them an email with a short introduction. Don't send attachments. In an age with so many viruses, reporters and others prefer to have attachments if they don't know who you are. So give enough detail in the body of your email to get them interested. Do not give them your full story because in a long email they might not read it, but give them enough to hook them to ask for more information. And at that point, once you develop a relationship with the reporter, then you can send attachments and they'd be more than happy to accept them. Next. So can't go without saying how important social media is for your events. If you're going to be doing a campaign, make sure you use the hashtag WRDD 2015. If you have a specific disease like atypical HUS, make sure you use that hashtag as well. We will be able to include as many people to be able to find you as possible. So when you use the social media, use the appropriate hashtags or @ to be able to capture those audiences. Ask followers to retweet what you're doing and help you spread the word. It's this is the time of the year where we try to gain the most momentum, and your friends and family can help by just simply retweeting you, sharing your post, or even start searching out tweets using their search feature on Twitter to find people just like you who are maybe doing similar events that you can share and collaborate with. Next. Everybody loves Facebook. Make sure you post your event in related groups, whether they be local or disease-specific. You might find someone, for example, in the cystic fibrosis group that you did not know that was local to you, but you're hosting a public event, and that might be a way for them to reach out to you and say, hey, I'm in the same community as you, I'd like to get involved. So whatever avenues you have available to you, social media, go ahead and post your information there. Try and get as much awareness as possible through those avenues. Next. Our Global Gene Store. As I shared earlier in our presentation, the Wear That You Care and the Blue Denim Jeans ribbon programs have become incredibly popular because people want to show their support. They want to show that hope is our goal, hope in a treatment. And this year, our Global Gene Store will have even more items to help you create this hope and awareness, such as bracelets and stickers, magnets, keychains, pin hats, necklaces, temporary tattoos, and more. And our store will be opening in mid-January 2015, and we will be sure to send out an email to everybody to let you know as soon as it's online, so you can get your collateral and everything you need for Rare Disease Day. Next. Jeans ribbons are available right now to all partner organizations, foundations, and advocates. They'll be shipped out after the new year, but we suggest you get your request in as soon as you know how many ribbons you'll need, because we're expecting hundreds of thousands, over 100,000, maybe even 200,000 ribbons to be requested this year, and we want to make sure that you get your ribbons. And then to make sure you receive your ribbons, the deadline for ribbon orders for the U.S. is February 13th. For those outside the U.S., the deadline is going to be February 6th. So the close of our presentation today, and I'm going to go ahead and answer some of the questions you submitted during the webinar. First, I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy day to join us for our Rare Disease Day events idea and planning webinar, and we're really excited to see what you put together. You share your events with us on our website at globalgenes.org, because we'll not only be posting all the events on our website, but Lana will be posting them in our popular Rare Daily blog, which reaches thousands of people weekly. Other places you can share your event for even more exposure is rarediseaseday.org, rare disease foundations that you work with, and your local media's calendar and events section. In the last few years, we've had tons of amazing photographs submitted to use on our Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram, showing how people like you care about rare diseases. Last year, our Care About Rare hashtag was everywhere, and this year we would love to see it trending all over social media worldwide, along with hashtag WRDD 2015. Next slide. Questions on today's presentation or want suggestions or help on your Rare Disease Day event, please feel free to contact me, Mary O at globalgenes.org. If you have questions on our Blue Denim Jeans Ribbon program, you can reach out to Ashley Gertman at ashleygg at globalgenes.org. And for those of you that have questions on the Grand Rounds program, which I see quite a few in our Q&A, please contact Katie at katiem@globalgenes.org. Our marketing team, like I said, has a few surprises in store also for Rare Disease Day to help with your social media campaigns and local outreach efforts, which will be launching in the new year. So our team at Global Genes is really excited to see what you put together. So I hope you keep in touch with us and let us know what you put together so we can share it with the entire rare disease community. Next slide, Katie. Let's go through our Q&A. Tina asks, are there any Grand Rounds happening during Rare Disease Day or in conjunction with Rare Disease Day? Grand Rounds is, we would like to see it last more than just that one day or week, depending on when the Grand Rounds happen. It is something we'd like to promote through the entire month of March because Rare Disease deserves more than just one day. So we would love to see Rare Disease Day as a kickoff to an entire month of rare disease events. For more details regarding Grand Rounds, please contact Katie and she can get those details to you. I asked, we're planning an event at San Antonio Military Medical Center, and it sounds like the Grand Rounds theme would be appropriate. Great, Kelly, we would love to work with you on that. Please contact Katie. Tina asks, will these slides be on the Global Genes website to share with others today? We'll need a couple days to get them online, but once we get the webinar and the slides online, we will be emailing everybody who's registered and letting them know when they're available. So for those who cannot attend today, they will also be getting an email letting them know. Ali asks, our disorder is extremely rare. When charities compete for matching funds for GiveRare.org, will the competition be based solely on the amount raised? Is there a way to level the playing field? Keegan, is that something you can answer to?
There's two ways, because that's very common. So we're actually going to have sort of a large and a small group. So the larger charities will be competing with the larger ones, and then the smaller charities will be competing with the smaller ones. But then we're also going to create like an individual fundraiser competition. So if you're an individual family or one person, you raise them more than any other individual, that's another way that you can compete, and then that money is going to go to your charity. So great question.
Great, I got another one for you. Rachel asks, there are so many giving days on social media. Is local media, radio, newspaper a way to go? I know I've heard over and over again about the continued fundraising.
It can be, but we do have to be careful because so a lot of the giving days are geography based. So you can have like a Washington Giving Day. So then you are advertising directly to the Washington state. So it's the media buys are a lot less expensive, and you can do it that way. Whereas if you look at the rare genetic disorders, it's nationwide. It really isn't any one geography. So then it can be more expensive if you're going to buy sort of Super Bowl type national media. But if we do the reverse way, fundraising actually leads to awareness, and that's going to lead to more publicity and more fundraising. Because we are so big together, if everyone really drives that grassroots, get all of your friends and family to go ahead and donate, and if everybody else does that same thing, all of a sudden we're going to end up having one of the largest giving days, and then what's going to happen is then people are going to say, hey, what's going on with this rare disease giving day? That's going to drive the awareness, and that's going to drive the additional fundraising. So I think our approach is really that grassroots approach.
I think it's great that we're starting in 2015, getting it started with 2016 being a leap year. Do you think that the media might catch on a little bit more, having the rarest day of the year, the kickoff for our Giving Rare for 2016?
Absolutely. That's a great point. And we believe that 2016, that rare day, the leap year, like if you could own the story for a day, that's hugely valuable. And by getting out in front of it this year, building that community, we have a chance to own the national media on February 29th. And a lot of these things are driven by money. It's going to be, how much did we raise? And if we end up being one of the bigger ones, then that's what's going to drive it. I know we have, a couple potential corporate sponsors on the call here, and I guess the question that I put out to you guys is, how valuable is it to you to be able to deliver a message an intimate message to 1 in 10 people across the U.S., or how valuable is it to have your logo associated with something that's going to own the media cycle for a day? And that's, if you think about it collectively, that's the value that we can provide if we get together and work together on it.
Ian asks, besides registering for Giving Day, is there anything else a network needs to do in order to be listed or participate to raise its donations?
Nothing else you're going to need to do. So you're going to have to register, and then you're going to have to set up your page. So that's sort of the minimum requirement to really make the most of it. What you're going to want to do is, in the new year, you're going to want to send out an email, a message to your supporters and say, hey, look, we're participating in this, please consider donating on our page. But the great thing is, once you register and sign up, we're going to walk you through that. So you don't have to create that. We're going to say, hey, look, here's a sample email that you might want to send out a couple weeks before the event. But to specifically answer your question, registering and set up your page is the minimum. That's very simple to do. But if you want to take it to the next step and start sending out emails to your friends and family, that's where you're going to get more benefit from the system.
Wonderful. And the final question as we hit the 12 o'clock Pacific time mark. Was this presentation recorded, or will just the slides be shared? The presentation was recorded, and both the presentation and the slides will be shared within the next couple of days, and we will be sending you out that link as soon as we get it. I wanted to thank everybody for joining us today. We cannot wait to see what you put together. If you are going to be ordering your ribbons, get your order in as soon as you know how many you need. That way we can be sure to get them to you on time. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. We look forward to working with you. Have a wonderful holiday from the entire Global Genes team.